Hey guys, this is Josh. It's gonna be a little bit different from my normal content. I want to tell you a story. It's a story about the strangers that you meet in pursuit of your passion, who become friends. It's a story about a father and a son coming a little bit closer together, and it's a story about a passion being ignited through fragrance. Um, I got a sample from a very dear friend of mine of a fragrance a few months back, and it absolutely transformed something inside of me, and I became absolutely obsessed. I've been scouring the darkest corners of the internet trying to source a bottle. It's a very limited release. Um, it's a fragrance that was inspired by a bird, which sounds weird in this moment, but once the story goes on, you'll begin to understand. Um, so I've been looking for this fragrance and looking for this fragrance and looking for this fragrance, and I stumbled into one of my WhatsApp chats, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking for this bottle. I'm really trying to get my hands on it. Any leads would help." And a couple of the people in the group introduced me to a content creator. I'm not going to share his name here because I don't know if he's okay with that. But I started to talk to this content creator, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I've got a bottle of it. Well, here's the deal. It's extremely personal to me. It was a gift, and it would be really hard for me to let it go unless it was just an obscene amount of money." And once I heard his story and the intricacies and the nuances and all of those things that really tied that bottle to him, um, I didn't feel right about trying to purchase the bottle. So I told him, I was like, "Hey, I really appreciate the offer, but it would absolutely hurt me more to take that bottle out of your possession where I feel like the universe has placed it for a reason and bring it into my collection. And even though it would bring me an immense amount of joy, it would pain me so much more to know that I took it from where it belonged." Um, and being the awesome, generous guy that he is, he was like, "Look, I'm going to decant you some. It's really hard to get fragrance. That way you've got more than just the 2 mil of juice that you've got left. And I'll get that sent out to you." Um, and I keep searching and keep searching and keep searching, and I reached out to somebody. I might have found the bottle. It's not confirmed yet. I'm waiting on a response. But a couple days later, after me and this guy had this interaction, I called my dad and I was like, "Hey, man, um, I found a fragrance that's inspired by a bird." And it kind of sparked a little bit of interest in him because he's an avid bird watcher. And if I'm being honest, my dad's always kind of struggled trying to understand why I'm so passionate about fragrances. And if I'm really being honest, I've always struggled with trying to understand why he's so passionate about bird watching. And somewhere in this story, somewhere in this moment, our two passions intersected and collided. My passion for fragrance, his passion for birds. And we began to talk, and I told him the story about how I've been searching for this bottle, and I came across this creator, and he offered to give me a sample. And I told him I didn't want to buy it from him because it had this intimate connection to him. And um, my dad stopped and he said, "Son, I would describe your passion for fragrances as something that they like to call soul surfing. You're in it for the love of the waves and not in it for the points from the judge." And that absolutely struck a chord in me. And in that moment, even if just for a split second, I felt like me and my father kind of understood each other just a little bit better. And we spent a little bit of time on the phone talking about it, and he could tell I was fired up, and I could tell that he was fired up, and we were both kind of sharing in our passions. And then I started talking about the bird that this fragrance is about, how I planned on going out into its natural habitat and wearing the fragrance, and like just contemplative meditation until my last 2 mils of juice faded away into the wind, because I feel like the fragrance is owed that much. um, and it really goes even a little bit deeper than that. My grandmother was an avid bird watcher, and I think that maybe on some level that's why my dad loves to watch birds so passionately, is because it gives him a connection to her. And I just thought it was really cool that our two passions kind of collided. And the way that he described it to me, the soul surfing, just made all the sense in the world in that moment. So I guess the question that I'm posing to you right now in this moment is, if you're if you're one of us, if you're a soul surfer in the fragrance community, can you recall a moment that absolutely transformed you, a moment that had you transfixed when you smelled a certain fragrance, or a fragrance that connected you to something from your past, or it just took the passion to a deeper level. So are you in it for the love of the waves, or are you in it for the points from the judge? And for me, it's the waves, man. So jump down in the comments, share your experiences with me. This has been a beautiful journey. I'm extremely grateful for everybody in my community that I've created, all my mods, all my admins. Y'all took my poorly executed idea and you transformed it into a beautiful, amazing thing to be a part of. And I realize this is a long form video and a lot of people lose attention really quickly. So for the ones of you who are still here watching and paying attention, I'm eternally grateful. And I want to hear about your experiences with the waves. I want to hear about your love for the waves. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you. This is Josh, Nashville Fragrance Market. Move different, smell delicious, go catch some waves.